Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, Kulmani said, I'm posting it in the group. Okay, chalo, let's start. Cool. So, I hope I'm visible and a few people are joining in. Okay, so, hello guys, welcome to a new edition of the weekly startup discussion by the Builders Club. आज हम लोग शार्क टैंक डील एनालिसिस के बाद काफी महीनों बाद राधा वी आर बैक टू आवर यूजुअल शेड्यूल जहाँ पे हम न्यूज स्टोरीज कवर किया करते थे तो आज हम we will basically go through the top five stories of not top five but rather the top startup stories which have been happening in the Indian ecosystem. In case you people want us to cover a few others, तो please हमें comment section में बता देना या फिर if you're a part of the WhatsApp group, then please feel free to DM us कि हम क्या किस टाइप के न्यूज स्टोरीज और कवर कर सकते हैं इन द वीकली लाइफ. Moving on, I think थोड़ा सा before the news, we will go through the startup, the funding news of the week. Mr. Saurabh sir is here. So this week, $309 million were deployed, out of which 225 million were in the growth stage. And then there were 83 million which went into the early stage deal. 10 deals in the growth stage deals and 17 deals in the early stage deals. तो ग्रोथ स्टेज डील्स की अगर हम बात करें तो सबसे ऊपर आता है जीपीएस रिन्यूएबल्स व्हिच इज इन द क्लीन टेक स्पेस. दे रेज $50 million from a lot of banks. Rather, तो आई एम अज्यूमिंग ये डेट फंडिंग हुई है. पीएनबी, एचडीएफसी, यस बैंक, एचएसबीसी, आईसीआईसीआई सबने पैसा डाला है. Then there is Altum Credo, which is in the housing finance space. Z3 partners and impact investors and Oiko Credit have put in money, $40 million. Then there is ProMart, which is in the B2B procurement space. They have raised $30 million from Nandan Nilekani and Sanjeev Agarwal's VC fund, Fundamentum Partnership, and the Edelweiss Discovery Fund. Then there is JJG Aero, which is in the aerospace components manufacturing. They have raised $12 million from CX Partners. Then there is Ring, which is a consumer lending app. They raised $12 million from Trifecta Capital. Then there is Uniquus Consultech, which is in the ESG accounting and reporting consulting space. They raised $10 million from Nexus Partners and Sorin Investments. And then there is NBFC Varthana, which raised $10 million from Blue Orchid Finance Limited. Then there is Wow Momo, which is basically in the Momo space. They raised from the three partners as well. And then there is Husk Power Systems, which is in the electric cycle making space. They raised money from Electrify. Moving on to the early stage funds, 17 early stage startups scooped up $83 million worth of investments this week. EcoZen, which is in the climate tech space, they were the highest running, $30 million from their existing investors, including Nuveen. Then there is Grey Collar University, which is in the recruitment space. They have raised from Matrix and Lightspeed. Then there is NBFC Think Friends, which is in the non-banking or NBFC lending platform. They have raised from APV management and debt from Increment Finance and Grow Money Capital. Then there is Click Post, which is in the shipping intelligence space. They have raised from Inflexer and Ethira VP. Then there is Good Flipping Burgers, which is in the D2C space, quick service, QSR space, $3.6 million from Tanglin Ventures. Then there is Medulance, which is an emergency healthcare service provider. They have raised from Alchemy Growth Partners. Then there is Vitus Care, which is in the elder care space. They have raised from Tomorrow Capital. Then there is clientele RevOps, which is in the AI, which is in the AI powered startup space. They have raised $2.5 million from Bloom Ventures, and then there is Zepic, which is in the SaaS-based customer experience space. They have raised from Neon Fund and angel investors from Apple, ChargeBee, Freshworks, Microsoft, and Zoho. When it comes to the cities, as usual, Bangalore rules the roost. 11 startups from Bangalore, 13 from Delhi NCR. तो इस बार दिल्ली ने बैंगलोर को बीट किया है. Then there is Bombay and then there is Pune. बॉम्बे में 5, पुणे में 4, पटना में 1, कलकत्ता से 2 और हैदराबाद से 1. अम, काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है इस बार बहुत सारे. और ये ट्रेंड मैं लास्ट 2 हफ्ते से देख रहा हूँ कि एनबीएफसी नहीं रहा, फिनटेक में बहुत ज्यादा पैसा डाला जा रहा है अभी, बोथ इन द ग्रोथ स्टेज एंड अर्ली स्टेज. इज देयर अ स्पेसिफिक ट्रेंड? ये भी कोई कोई वेव का पार्ट है क्या, कुलमणि सर? सौरभ सर, हेलो, आफ्टर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम यू आर
Yeah, that's right.
बैक. नहीं नहीं, ये कोई वेव चल रहा है क्या अभी, कुलमणि सर, सौरभ सर? फिनटेक के ऊपर सडनली फोकस है शिफ्टेड बैक टू टू फिनटेक.
So for me, I think fintech has been going on for a while, right? Once you look at last year funding or the year before that, because fintech is more like a horizontal play. So fintech funding has been anyway pretty big, and a lot of companies in the fintech space, because of the scale, now they are turning profitable. So money is flowing out there.
चलो, लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द मीट. ठीक है, तो अभी दिस टाइम अराउंड वी आर बैक विद द न्यू स्टोरीज. सो पहली स्टोरी, सबसे बड़ी स्टोरी क्रिप्टो स्पेस से. So the Bitcoin halving has happened. So what I mean by Bitcoin halving is basically the amount of stakes or the money that you used to make for mining Bitcoins, that has basically halved. And while people are saying that the Indian crypto ecosystem will not technically get impacted by this, but there is still a lot of worry because any which ways the crypto space had become a little bit dry. But because of the Bitcoin, because of the pricing halving, the the incentive of people to mine has also gone down. So this is kind of a global phenomenon. इसके ऊपर how many of you guys have either invested or taken bought crypto at any juncture in your life? आकाश, सौरभ, कुलमणि, आप
I
लोगों ने
have
क्रिप्टो
uh,
खरीदा था आपने?
I have a big portfolio of crypto. Very few coins though, like two or three. But yeah, I have good portfolio, good size portfolio.
तो यार
Yeah, Bitcoin.
क्या?
I think.
हाँ, बोलो बोलो.
Hmm. No, no, you go ahead. Like, what's your question?
No, no, my question is fairly simple. कि while this is just one of the events again, Bitcoin halvings have continuously happened. This is a no, this is a standard phenomenon which happens in the way the algorithm of Bitcoin has been written. कि जितना Bitcoin अगर आपका if there is a definite there is a finite amount of Bitcoins that can be mined, and as you continue mining certain halves, you basically the incentive for you to mine basically continuously goes down. So this is what from what I understand, this is the final half, और ये चलेगा, काफी लंबा चलेगा. This is the fourth
Yeah.
halving which has started.
Mhm.
Um, but in general, I think the reason why I wanted to pick up this story is I wanted to touch upon the current status of the crypto ecosystem in India and globally, because currently the way things are going is not looking good for the crypto ecosystem in general. Is there any need even globally, Saurabh, Kulmani, right now in the crypto space? क्योंकि DeFi और ये सब में काफी पैसा जा रहा है, but I would still consider that as a blockchain application in the fintech space rather than a crypto. गेम। क्रिप्टो के जो जितने भी बड़े प्लेयर्स थे, ऑल ऑफ दीज प्लेयर्स हैव एनी व्हिच वेज, मतलब एवरीबॉडी इज फेसिंग देयर ओन इश्यूज, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ देम रेगुलेटरी इन नेचर। इंडिया में तो मतलब जितने भी थे वो ज्यादातर लोग तो निकल करके दुबई की तरफ निकल गए हैं, मिडिल ईस्ट की तरफ या फिर सिंगापुर या फिर साउथ ईस्ट एशिया। व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द क्रिप्टो स्पेस इन जनरल? एनी न्यूज़ और एनीथिंग ऑन दैट फ्रंट?
I have not been following the global what is happening globally, but like you rightly said, right, the infra which comes to this that is being utilized across different industries, right? Blockchain is one example, several other examples. But as such, I don't know what is the short term cycle and what is the long term cycle for it. I'm not following this. Personally, I have not invested in crypto, although I
हाँ,
have
क्रिप्टो में
followed this very actively around 2000, let's say 11 to 15 when it was very, very early. But after that time, I'm not, never sort of put into the whole hype around it. So for me,
हम्म,
it's very difficult, right? If you talk about asset classes, I don't know, maybe the way I was trained. But when I look at an asset class, it needs to have some kind of cash flow attached to it, right? Otherwise, it's very difficult for me. And then it just becomes a speculation for me at that. So
हम्म,
that could be probably classical view of assets, but I don't know how to value crypto and how
अभी
to
अभी
make
मेरे ख्याल
smart
से
choices.
हाँ, अभी तो टोकन 2049 और वेब 3 के बहुत सारे इकोसिस्टम, बहुत बहुत सारे इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं दुबई और मिडिल ईस्ट में। आई थिंक ग्लोबली दुबई, मिडिल ईस्ट एंड probably सिंगापुर आर द टू हॉटबेड्स राइट नाउ जहाँ पे एटलीस्ट थोड़ी बहुत एक्टिविटी हम देख सकते हैं क्रिप्टो की। बट इंडिया से तो यार आई थिंक ज्यादातर चीजें, ज्यादातर स्टार्टअप्स एनी विच वेज हैव काइंड ऑफ मूव ऑन। अभी बीच में मेरे ख्याल से मैंने कुछ एक न्यूज देखा था जहाँ पे कॉइन डीसीएक्स, वही कॉइन डीसीएस, आई डोंट नो, पीपल आर स्टिल सेइंग दैट देयर इज अ क्रिप्टो स्प्रिंग, बट I don't see the kind of craze that was there in the 2020, 2021 days to come back in any form. Um, cool. अगर इसमें,
So
so
there
इसमें,
there is also some, I think, some folks uh, active in the gift city in India also.
Hmm.
I think there is
Hmm.
some new set of rules around crypto for gift city as well in India. I am not
Ah,
studied in detail, but you may want to look that up. There are some entities which are
interesting.
trying to get some license
Crypto space
there.
for Gift
So
City, huh?
it might be. I met someone who said that there is some regulations, etc.
Digital asset tokenization. ये तो रुपी को डिजिटाइज करने की कोशिश तो काफी टाइम से चल रही है ना। दिस इज बेसिकली द टोकेनाइजेशन, दिस इज नॉट टेक्निकली क्रिप्टो क्रिप्टो। ये तो फिर हर एक
Right.
कंट्री तो, दिस इज द नेक्स्ट लॉजिकल स्टेप इन करेंसी ना, as the world goes
Yeah,
digital, your economy or your money will also become digital. नहीं आकाश? Is this
yeah,
a
this
normal
is
trend? Hmm.
yeah, this is digital rupee actually. Very close to digital rupee. Yeah, that's what
Hmm.
like everyone is trying to focus on. But yeah, I mean the problem is again the usage. I mean, if you have a rupee, right, versus digital rupee, like where can you use like the normal rupee or the digital rupee? So that differentiation is still not clear. So things have not actually basically are moving. Right? So in this space, but I think in terms of usage, right? I think Ethereum has a lot of usage because Ethereum is the base chain, right? So so most of the new coins are built on top of Ethereum chain. So it has a usage, and then of course Bitcoin is used as the digital like digital gold because the number of like coins are limited. And then of course, I mean the problem is that with with government side, they will basically increase the supply of cash like anytime, and it will basically cause inflation. So that's the reason behind like Bitcoin, that since the supply is fixed, right, no one can increase the like inflation because of that, and that's why it is basically called as digital gold. So it has their own utility, I would say. I mean, some parts to it. It actually is a fad, like 100%. But yeah, it also depends on the demand and supply, right? Since the demand and supply of like Bitcoin is this big, that makes sense. And if you see most of the big actually corporate JP Morgan and all, right, they have like
Uh,
billions of Bitcoin, so which actually kind of prove the value. And Ethereum, of course, most of the coins are built on top of Ethereum. So
Ethereum, देखो, from a usage perspective, application perspective, तो there is no question that
yeah,
blockchain as a technology, और मेरे ख्याल से fintech is one of the first industries which will be disrupted with this. इन लोगों ने तो सबने इंटरनल बना लिया ना, लेकिन जो पहले जो डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन वाला
right,
जो वेव था, वो
hmm,
डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन वेव हैज कंप्लीटली काइंड ऑफ गॉन डाउन। उसमें अभी कोई जोर नहीं रहा। चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं। आई थिंक लेट्स मूव
right,
ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन। इसमें तो मेरे ख्याल से ज्यादा कुछ है नहीं। इसमें एक मेरे को काफी इंटरेस्टिंग ये मिला था डेटा पॉइंट। आई थिंक दिस माइट बी अ knowledge for all of you guys। the जो हम टोकनाइजेशन की बात कर रहे थे ना, the first platform that will enable asset tokenization and trading will be operationalized by Terazo, a cat 3 AIF launched by real estate major Collated Ventures। The platform will be operationalized for trading by Jan 2024। या तो हो चुकी होगी या फिर ये बस न्यूज ही होगी। आई डोंट नो whether this is actually happened or not, but this is something which I did not know। ये गवर्नमेंट के साथ ही मिलकर ये कुछ कर रहे हैं for this tokenization bit। Was this a news? मतलब ये कुछ हो रहा था क्या इसमें? सौरभ सर, Mani sir, if you guys know, नहीं पता तो मैं just move on।
Yeah, I did not track this.
मुझे भी नहीं पता था। चलो छोड़ो, फिर अभी नहीं है तो नहीं है। मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन। ये इंटरेस्टिंग, और इसको मैं काफी टाइम से ट्रैक कर रहा था कि ये करेंगे क्या। सो in shorts, I'm sure a lot of people know about in shorts, right? So in shorts is a news platform which kind of went viral in 2016 2017 by giving you bite-sized news content, जो आप एक स्वाइप में पूरा का पूरा न्यूज का समरी पढ़ सकते थे। इनकी अपनी एक टीम हुआ करती है जो कि बैठ करके सारी न्यूज को समराइज करती है और फिर वो ऐप पे जाता है। इन शॉर्ट्स इज नाउ पिवटिंग फ्रॉम न्यूज टू एन इन्फ्लुएंसर कंटेंट प्लेटफॉर्म to push for growth and engagement। So the whole funda is that InShorts is said to be testing a new feature within its app, which is very similar to Twitter or LinkedIn, and is looking to rope in influencers for user-generated original content। I am not, I'll not say that I'm surprised, but this is an experiment which has been done quite a lot before, in the early days of the digital ecosystem। But I think, I don't know, timing का भी इसमें बहुत ज्यादा गेम होता है। This new model is in stark contrast to the company's original promise of aggregating news from reputed publishers, and raises concerns about disclosure of source as well as disguising social media posts as news stories। Now, the blurring of lines between news and user-generated content is in contravention to the IT Act, and in short runs the risk of running afoul of the guidelines set for digital media intermediaries। इसके ऊपर मेरा तो टेक है, बट आई वुड रादर आप लोग एक बार बताओ व्हाट इज योर टेक ऑन दिस। बिकॉज सी फ्रॉम अ
I
मोनोगल सर।
so I first heard about them around 2017. Right, they've
हम्म,
been around for some time,
या
eight, 7, 8 years now. So, just thinking about when you just said that there is a team sitting and summarizing. I think all of this can be done by AI now, maybe,
नाउ यस।
right? So, I mean, all of us heard about perplexity, getting money, and have you seen their? I was just playing with their sort of model today. So they
अच्छा।
can summarize scientific research papers for you. So it could summarize cancer research papers and give you 3 or 4 bullets.
वाओ।
Peer-reviewed research it can summarize. So
इंटरेस्टिंग।
now I don't know what is the relevance of in shorts in light
हाँ।
of that technology. It will be interesting to see. Second bid, I don't know where it will lead to. It's just an experiment. They are a funded company. Do you know how did they make money? Did they have to pay royalty to all these news sources? If somebody was surprising, let's say from Indian Express or Financial Times, were they paying any money to these news
नहीं नहीं
agencies in the background?
ये redirect करते हैं सर. It's like any other
Okay,
website. They give a redirection link. So while you
okay,
read the news now, if you swipe right,
mm,
you land up to that landing page. So they don't have a this thing.
okay,
इनका मेन पैसा बनता है ब्रांडिंग से जो ऐप में एडवर्टाइजिंग होती है. So the ads have a premium this thing because InShorts का जो TG है, that TG is said to be the corporates and the professionals who read news, and because their behavior on the app, you can push them targeted these things, targeted ads. So their main money comes from that, from brand solutions rather.
okay.
um but yes, I think your point is absolutely valid कि because of AI coming in, InShorts is at risk of having a very commoditized feature. This is not a USP anymore, which used to be at one point of time, but now it's not a USP anymore. They have to experiment, and this is one of the newer experiments which they are trying to do. Beta testing कर रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं कि चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा. But this also means कि they are also, इनको भी थोड़ा सा क्या बोलते हैं उसको, आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस हो रहा है अभी with AI coming in and all. And this is not the only story. There is another story which we are going to cover. जो मैं देखता हूँ, आई थिंक इस स्टोरी को, दोनों स्टोरीज को साथ में हम शायद ले सकते हैं, which is this one. Verse Innovation, which is Daily Hunt, is now expanding their digital content portfolio. They have acquired Maxter and they are getting to subscription service now. They are basically saying premium content, बाहर के इंटरनेशनल पब्लिकेशंस के जितने ये हैं, वो मैं आपको ला करके दूंगा, आप मुझे दो ₹250 महीना, और मैं आपको सारे इंटरनेशनल पब्लिकेशंस और ये सब के लूंगा. So a lot of great interesting things are happening in the content space. But coming back to InShorts का experiment, ये जो यूजर जनरेटेड कंटेंट की तरफ जब बातें चली जाती है ना, तो फिर मतलब मेरा वही टेक है कि आई डोंट नो अबाउट द न्यूज़ वर्सेस यूजर जनरेटेड कंटेंट के बीच में what people, I mean, if there are any regulatory issues or not, but it's very difficult to create a social media network यार. अगर आप सोशल मीडिया नेटवर्क की तरह देख रहे हो, आप ये भले ही कर सकते हो कि मैं इन्फ्लुएंसर को पैसे दूंगा और वो मेरे लिए एडिटोरियल लिखे, या मेरे लिए एक सर्टेन कंटेंट क्रिएट करके दे, बट दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू, दैट इज नॉट अ वैल्यू फॉर विच पीपल विल कम टू योर प्लेटफॉर्म, बिकॉज अगर उनको इन्फ्लुएंसर का ये देखना था, दे कुड हैव गॉटन इट फ्रॉम दीज नॉर्मल पीपल ऑल्सो. एंड अगर आप एक सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म की बात कर रहे हो, तो वो कम्प्लीटली एक अलग ही गेम है यार. इट्स अ कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट डीएनए. It's
Hmm, hmm.
content curation versus getting people to sit and engage on your platform are two different things altogether. तेरा क्या take है इसमें, आकाश? What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think in terms of AI, right, what was mentioned, I think they had built like models. So I have a batchmate of mine who used to work in like insurance. So they have been building machine learning models since long back, I think since like 2018, 19. And what they are doing is, yes, they use like artificial intelligence to create the content, and then there is a human which just vet the content that there should be no toxicity and some of the parameters to ensure it. I think and that is there. I think to the point, I mean, what they are trying to do is that any major news in India, right? They want to like put it in a shot and put it and actually send it to basically people. The problem, I think, with like Perplexity or any search engine is that you have to ask the question, right? They are basically pushing that thing. So I think there is the use case makes sense. I think the question again, I think what Kulmani has asked, right? The question is very valid that how they are making money. That, like, to be honest, I have no idea that how sustainable it is. But I think in terms of the in terms of the problem, like you basically give specific news to a specific customer as per their interest. That problem statement still makes sense to me. In terms of expanding to this basically new content now, I think yeah, that will be like quite interesting. But I mean, yeah, I think they are again they are just trying to do that to add more money to the platform. That because like influencers, like if they bring in influencers, of course, their own people will also come, so that will increase the views. I think so. Maybe yes, but yeah, I mean, it's a hard market to crack. I mean, like distribution, but they have cracked distribution in the past.
Yeah,
So let's
distribution.
see.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, they have cracked distribution. So now I think it's just about building the right product, which would which would make money for the influencer and for them as well.
तो ये बेसिकली जो मुझे समझ में आ रहा है, so this is a small snapshot of their revenue streams as well. तो यहाँ पे जो मुझे समझ में आ रहा है, what they are saying is they are basically saying कि LinkedIn और इसका मतलब अभी वो क्या करते थे, they used to curate content or curate news from all the different news publications, right? Now they are saying that they will curate the news from the social media platforms and everything from these specific influencers as well as incentivize influencers to create content. तो ये क्रिएटर्स मोनेटाइजेशन जैसे यूट्यूब करता है ना, आप यूट्यूब पे कंटेंट क्रिएट करते हो, अगर वहां पे ऐड आता है तो आपको एक सर्टेन परसेंटेज ऑफ द ऐड आपको मिलता है, राइट? तो आई थिंक दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू अ सिमिलर थिंग हियर, but this again it comes with its own share of headaches. Again, जो आप content create कर रहे हो, in shorts is known for news. So do you bring in journalists or do you bring in normal creators who create GC content or entertainment content? That is something which you'll have to basically look at. क्योंकि देखो aggregating social media contents as a post from X, LinkedIn platforms and all, they are a part of Insights in shorts regular newsfeed also. So how is it different? That is the question. For instance, this post that refers to Deepak Shenoy, founder, swiping left to the store takes you to the user of X, where you can see Shenoy commenting on the Reuters platform. Yeah, so this is what it is right now. So any take on this, Saurabh sir?
Yeah, I was just looking at the numbers, frankly. So
Hmm.
this is a 10-year-old startup, right, in
Hmm.
shorts, right? And
Yeah.
I think they are struggling heavily to monetize what they're currently doing because last year, I think out here it's shown as 181 crores. So on Google,
Hmm.
I'm finding about 147 crores revenue and
Hmm.
about 300 crores burn. And this
Hmm.
is before AI actually kicking in. Now, a lot
Hmm.
of their revenue will actually potentially from their this service will go away just because AI can do the job slightly
Yeah.
better, right? So
Yeah.
you won't be able to monetize it so well. So these guys need to get into a different model anyway. And
Hmm.
Daily Hunt again, once you look at it, these guys are still, let's say the complete group is burning a lot of cash, right? So
Hmm.
the idea is that whatever currently they are doing is not really yielding results, and it's not short term we're talking about. These are 8, 10 years old companies, right? So they
Hmm.
would need to experiment with new models where they can make money. But I'm surprised on the creator side because that thing has been used, abused already. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how much meat is left out there.
हम्म, ये लोग इस तरीके से अभी बना रहे हैं देखो. So sources preview that India is trying to rope in major influencers from LinkedIn, Twitter, and other platforms. Point is, the moment you bring in influencers, they will not do it for free. Right? So it's like having a very expensive guy who will basically put in content, and that is also not going to guarantee any traction. If they usually
You can
logo,
always do the rev share, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
that
because these guys already have the platform.
valid point है, but रेव शेयर में भी यूजुअली होता है क्या है ना, गाय लाइक राज शमानी और somebody if they get in influencers, they don't work on just affiliate. Getting my point? They will ask for x amount as fixed and the rest can be rev share unless and until uh, you give them a very massive number.
Right.
So
So you can always have 2 to 5% guys who are coming on fixed fee basis just to get the initial traction and getting other guys to come in. Rest 95% will come on rev share basis anyway.
So this is how the LinkedIn people are saying my posts are live on InShots, couldn't think of anything when I started writing this. So they are getting in all the influencers. A guy from InShot sent me a DM on LinkedIn and I was surprised. They are basically asking an invite only creators program का deck भेजा है इसमें. So InShots is looking for content creators who would publish their own content on InShots as shorts, so 60-word summary, and then they will link it to a different platform. Okay. They have 4 CR plus applications and have highest readership amongst Tiny. That is true. It is not immediately clear whether InShots is also paying influencers to post content, and this has to be the case for the bigger ones. छोटे वाले तो कर भी लेंगे, बड़े वाले नहीं करेंगे फ्री में. So quite an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on this, and let's see how this story unfolds. Fairly interesting. Content space is not that easy. Now that brings me to the second part. Part two of the content story is Daily Hunt. So again, they have basically taken in or they have basically acquired Maxter, and they are basically getting international publications now to India, to Indian audiences. Maxter, for all of you guys who don't know, it's a New York-based digital newsstand. Maxter is a cross-platform, self-service global digital newsstand with a library of more than 8,500 premium magazines and newspapers. This acquisition marks a step forward towards Innovation's ambition to become a major digital media tech conglomerate. Abhi, I think these people have done fairly well for themselves. So taking a small note from this one only, and I think Verse Daily Hunt is one of the closest competitor to what an InShots is. Though उनका इन दोनों का TG बहुत अलग है. Daily Hunt बहुत mass है, and because which can be seen in the MAUs as well. InShots has an MAU of 30 million, while Daily Hunt has an MAU of 350 million, which is 10 times. Same for the revenue as well. And basically अभी तक डेली हंट पे आपको सारे वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेजेस में सारी चीजें मिलती थी. Now they are basically starting the international publications as well. Okay, so high quality content experiences. Avendus was the exclusive financial advisor. ठीक है. Verse continues to build strategically with the launch of several new initiatives, including Verse Collab, which is a tech-driven influencer marketplace, and a upcoming introduction of the Verse Next Change, which is a Bharat-focused programmatic audience network. ये भी अपना ad network बना रहे हैं. And Wise, which is versus AI, generative AI for content generation. Interesting. So from what I could gather, whatever TG that they have, they are basically bringing in a layer of more premium international content. Plus, so I'll talk about tech because I was involved in the tech ecosystem for the past 3 years. So थोड़ा सा मेरे को इसका knowledge है. But this is a very interesting one. A programmatic, Bharat-focused programmatic ad network, which is very similar to what I think the same story which ShareChat had also, said. उनकी कहानी भी बहुत similar थी कि भारत के लिए हम कुछ कुछ करेंगे. But इसके बारे में क्या take है? What's your take on this story? सौरभ कुलमणि आकाश. So मैं थोड़ा सा इसमें ये दे देता हूँ कि basically, I think again this is a very logical move. But when it comes to subscriptions, we'll have to look at so what they are trying to do now is they are going to give this out on a subscription based service. ठीक है जो उनकी subscription service है. So my question here is how big is the subscription service and what is the ratio of the amount of money that these people are making from ads versus subscription? Because while subscription is always the holy grail, इनके सब्सक्राइबर्स जो हैं currently is there an intent for people to pay for international publishing international news or not? That is my first question. Because they did a very similar acquisition with Josh which did not work out well for them. And that was again वो तो मेरे ख्याल से wave था उस time wave चल रहा था everybody was Just because TikTok got banned, everybody wanted to have their own short form video app, and things didn't go out well. So is this a knee-jerk reaction, or is this a well thought out strategy, keeping in mind the long term revenue that these people can give? Is the question. Because again, I am sure that this deal wouldn't have been cheap. ये भी देख लेते हैं एक बार कितने का है ये डील. Master. How big was the deal? I don't think that number कहीं पे mentioned है. India's worst acquires Apple News plus rival Maxter. तो मतलब इंटरनेशनल एम्बिशन. सो आई डोंट नो, मेरे को वही लग रहा है कि ये इंडियन ऑडियंस में ही अभी भी खेल रहा है. ये अभी तक इंडिया के बाहर वाला तो मुझे कहानी लग नहीं रही है. दिस स्टोरी इज एडिंग वैल्यू टू द पीपल हु आर विद इन इंडिया ओनली. 1 million पेइंग सब्स. अच्छा, मैक्सटर. अच्छा, सो मैक्सटर हैज एन ऑडियंस इन इंडिया. Maxter has amassed over 1 million paying subscribers in India and boasts a global active user base of 87 million. The firm, which offers an all-you-can-consume model with an annual subscription fee ranging from $20 to $30, has found a distribution and technology partner in Verse. So इनका इंडिया में already presence है and they have paying audiences. And I think 1,000-1,500 रुपए अगर कोई दे रहा है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि ये ब्रांड को किल करेंगे. मुझे लगता है कि ये बस
I have been I have been their subscriber in the past.
Maxter.
Yeah,
Is it good?
but it's good. I mean, if you are reading, let's say, Market Watch, and Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, all of those, you get some. But see, but that's going against, because you told us that they have 350 million and they are more like a mass
They
player,
are
right, in
mass.
Indian
Yeah, yeah.
market, right? While
Hmm.
Maxter is very, very like 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
So not sure how that will fit into.
मेरा भी क्वेश्चन वही है ना सर. दैट इज एग्जैक्टली माय क्वेश्चन आल्सो कि इफ यू आर मास, then your TG, is your TG the right TG who will also consume Maxter? Has that is that something which has come from your user base saying कि यार मेरे को तो ऐसा भी पढ़ना है. I want to know a little bit more. I want to get news from international publications as well. If that is the case, then what I'm saying is, even if the subscription number is small, given the fact that this is recurring revenue and this is the average ticket size is also decently higher than what a normal this thing would be, I'm sure that that smaller chunk might also make a lot of sense. Because फिर वही वाली बात है ना कि if you have a certain number of the top 1% of the world is reading, then you can upsell and cross sell a lot of other things also to these people if they become your captive in
Tough,
some manner.
very, very tough to cross sell and upsell to this audience
अच्छा.
because they are already very, very sophisticated, and it's very difficult to upsell to them because they know
Hmm.
what they want. I think
Hmm.
what they could do is that well, they could slash the prices for the bundles which Maxters is offering, and they then it could become a economies of scale kind of thing for that. Uh, Ultimately, if they are acquiring this only for India market, what signal are they giving us that they see potential in India? Probably this 1 million going to fix in future years, right? Or maybe this is part of their global playbook. We are not sure, right? Could be the global
Hmm.
playbook, could be India. Then to discuss. But what about Josh? Josh has not worked out well for them.
George sir, everything is gone. All these TikTok copycats which were made at that time were just there for those 5 seconds. उसके बाद तो everything died down. Nothing is there. I think right now बस Instagram and YouTube Shorts are the only platforms which are working. No other platform has been able to replace TikTok.
Just
Because my understanding was Josh was going to tier two and smaller towns and doing the Josh trips, right? It's the same
देखें
platform, right?
yeah
so here, just a question here to both of you and to
हाँ
for the rest of the panel here. How come I've never heard of? Well, I have heard of Maxter, but as a consumer, I have never heard of Maxter. I am a subscriber to the Business
हाँ
Standard. I am a user of the Daily Hunt almost on a daily basis. I'm a subscriber to the Economic Times. How come they have never reached out? I have never seen any of their advertisements. So basically, is it a? It's looking like an entirely organic growth. I mean, they have reached 1 million subscribers through organic or low ad means, then that is something to go about in this world. In 2024, that is something to scream from the rooftops. So
Right. I think
I'm quite
most of the
awed by the
audience,
numbers. I had not expected it to be that big.
yeah, so this audience probably is audience which is traveling globally,
yes
also is consuming a lot of global brands. If you look at the tourists, number of tourists which are traveling from India to other countries and have interest. This trend again, you can look at movies. You know how much Hollywood movies are doing per screen versus Hindi movies. That will also astound you. After being dubbed in Hindi,
नहीं है सर ये
and
खत्म हो गया इनका sorry so yeah I think Pulmani is absolutely right. I think it's the people who have gone to the US who basically have continued paying here. Maxter is not an Indian this thing, na? They are a US brand. They have 87 million MAU across the globe. In India, they have got 1 million paying customers, and these are very super niche people here who are either global netizens who continue traveling and who read, those international publications which comes in. So I think aspirational quality बढ़ाने के लिए इसको लाया है सर और जोश तो गायब ही है मुझे तो जोश के बारे में कहीं नहीं दिख रहा है आई कांट फाइंड जोश एट ऑल एनीवेयर जहां भी मैं जोश के बारे में पढ़ रहा हूँ वो जोश के पेरेंट कंपनी की तरफ ही पॉइंट आउट कर रहा है घुमा फिरा के दिस has been the case since 2023 2022 articles also nothing is there so I don't know how they are doing but it's not that promising मैं बता रहा हूँ ना वीडियो इकोसिस्टम में टीयर टू टीयर थ्री में भी अगर आप देखोगे ना ज्यादा प्रोलिफरेशन कोई एक थर्ड पार्टी ऐप का हुआ नहीं है टिकटॉक ने जिस तरीके से किया था that nobody has been able to capture till now. Um, but yeah, I think let's just move on to the
story
uh,
TikTok story in the US is currently very interesting.
yeah, very interesting. वहां भी कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा
What's the
Yeah,
क्या हुआ
what's the monetization plan? Is it only subscription model? I think subscription has been up to 1,000 rupees. Speaking
subscription
from memory,
subscription
monetization.
subscription sir subscription
Hmm, hmm.
hello I'm audible
Million means into 2,000, we say. Yeah, you're audible. You're audible.
कर रहे हैं सर 2 करोड़ 3 करोड़ के आसपास का धंधा तो कर रहे हैं उनके लिए
Yes,
इंडिया वाज नेवर अ बिग ऑडियंस बिग मार्केट फॉर देम एनीवेज
इससे ज्यादा होगा.
1 मिलियन 1 मिलियन इंटू 200 इंटू 2000 इज 2000 मिलियन ना 20 करोड़ के आसपास का धंधा कर रहा है 20 करोड़ के आसपास का धंधा होगा
If you put it look at 20 crores is not no small amount.
yeah not bad but at the scale that these people are operating उसमें उतना बड़ा नंबर नहीं है ये 10-20 करोड़ का धंधा is okay it's
Oh,
not that much
check that number once. Just a minute. I think they are making some mathematical mistake.
देखो देखो हम हमेशा एक जीरो मिस कर देते हैं 2,000 million is how much? I think let's just move on to the next one. ठीक है इतने
200
रुपीस
crores,
है
sir.
200 क्या बात कर रहे हैं
That's
सर
like rich.
हैं
If
एक दो तीन चार पाँच छः सात आठ
they
नौ
manage to read it,
2 करोड़ से 20 करोड़ से 200
200
करोड़ से
crores.
दो
200.
200 करोड़ का धंधा कर रहे हैं वो विच इज व्हाट नॉट बैड 40 मिलियन के आसपास का रेवेन्यू है इनका फिर छोड़ो यार
डील साइज
लेट्स
क्या
मूव
था?
ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन हाँ क्या बोल रहे हो
Deal size, I missed that point.
डील साइज नहीं दिया था वही तो मैं खोज रहा हूँ इट्स नॉट डिस्क्लोज्ड एवेंडर्स ने किया है कुछ तो
Okay.
ओके 100 मिलियन इज 10 करोड़ मैं घूम गया अभी छोड़ो मूव ऑन टू द लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन ओके टेली परफॉर्मेंसेस इंसॉल्वेंसी प्लिया एनसीएलटी गिव्स बायजूस सौरभ सर जब भी हम न्यूज़ कवर करते हैं तो बायजूस की एक स्टोरी तो मतलब मैंडेटरी है नहीं द करंट अपडेट व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन सो बायजूस के ऊपर के प्रॉब्लम्स खत्म नहीं हो रहे हैं बायजूस हैज नॉट बीन एबल टू गिव मनी टू देयर एम्प्लॉइज वो तो खैर पुरानी न्यूज़ हो गई है अभी बेसिकली NCLT has granted Byju's 1 week's time to settle its payment dispute with French Teleperformance Business Services company. Teleperformance Business Services, the French outsourcing firm for Byju's. What they are saying is again पैसे नहीं दिए हैं यार पैसे खत्म हो गए हैं पैसे दिए नहीं जा रहे हैं they have a due of around 3 to 4 CR with these people, with the French consumer services company, Teleperformance. And it is also Teleperformance alleges that Byju's abruptly terminated his contract without any notice. Um, and they also filed an insolvency plea against the company in January, seeking the repayment of a 1.2 billion term loan B. So I think the problems are just piling up. India CEO Arjun Mohan has also left. Currently, Baiju Ravindran is the one who's taking care of this thing. So this is just a side note. I don't know if anybody of you want to take a dig at it.
This is not making sense. This is not making sense because his monthly salary is around 50 CR. This
किसका
dispute is for Byju's. Monthly salary is around
अभी
50
भी
CR.
50 करोड़ ले रहा है
Right. I think it's around sorry the whole
ईयरली
payroll
सैलरी
which he has
द होल पेरोल हाँ
the whole payroll which he has to make for.
हम्म
Because I remember last month he got a credit line of 30 CR, personal credit line, to pay the salary of
या
February and March. March, some part has been paid, but for this 3 CR, I don't know why didn't he clear this? Because he is not able to access the money from the rights issue, which he did, right? At 250 million valuation, he raised 200 million, something like that, right? The rights issue. So that money is not able to access. That's why last month he had to take personal credit to pay the salaries from January, February, and partly March. March, I think 50% has been paid.
ये
So
मेरे
this
ख्याल से
number he
यार
should be able to clear. This number
ये
he
मेरे
should
ख्याल
clear.
ये
3
मेरे
CR.
ख्याल से
Yeah.
हाँ मेरे ख्याल से उसका वो रहा होगा कि कर देंगे सर अभी वो चल रहा होगा उसे कि यार लेट मी फिनिश ऑफ दीज और फिर योर्स आई टेक केयर ऑफ बट दे आर आल्सो इन अ हरी अब यूरोपियन कंपनी है ठीक है तो यूरोपियन कंपनी थोड़ा सा पुश बैक कर रही है कि चलो आई दे आर ट्राइंग टू गेट देयर मनी एज सून एज पॉसिबल आई डोंट सी
I think I think he will get access to the rights issue money. Then he should be able to survive in the short term. The interesting thing is that following what is happening with Akash, that's also interesting. Right?
आकाश के
because
साथ
now,
क्या हुआ है अभी ये? आई एम नॉट फॉलोइंग दैट वन, व्हाट हैज हैपेंड?
so with Akash, I think Manipal had put in money, and Mr. The young
हाँ,
Chaudhary is back as the CEO.
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
Yeah, he's back
हैं,
as the CEO.
आई कंप्लीटली मिस दिस।
He has
अच्छा।
come back as CEO.
The shared
Promoters,
serve
Chaudhary
dealers hit a
family,
roadblock. Hmm.
yeah, Chaudhary family is back in the driving seat, along with the support of Manipal and the private equity.
ओह, दिस हैज टू बी गिवन। इसके लिए तो अलग से एक सर 15-20 मिनट का हम एक रखते हैं कॉल। ये तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है यार, वी रियली हैव टू कवर दिस, आई कंप्लीटली मिस दिस। अच्छा, तो आकाश भी सोच रहा होगा ना कि यार ये मैं अपना ब्रांड इतने 20 दे हैव टेकन 20-30 years टू बिल्ड द ब्रांड, तो बायजूस के साथ खत्म हो जाएगा उनकी ब्रांड इक्विटी। ओके, इंटरेस्टिंग। चलो, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन। Swiggy. So, how many of you actually know that there is something known as Swiggy Mall? मुझे नहीं पता था, मुझे पेटीएम मॉल का पता था। स्विगी मॉल भी ऑपरेट करता है, which is a physical store in Bangalore. Okay, so Swiggy Mall sells a wide range of non-grocery items like footwear and electronic items. So currently now Swiggy Mall is now being merged with Instamart. So see, currently Instamart is currently present in over 25 cities, which allows Swiggy Mall to scale up. I don't think it's a physical store. Wait, let me just check. I might be wrong. Restaurants है ना sir? It's a mall. नहीं यार, it's a feature. What is this? Subway app. Swiggy integrates mall. And यार, it's a feature. I think ये बस बैंगलोर में available था. So Swiggy Mall basically was a feature through which they were selling footwear and electronic items in their app only, through their app only. But now I think they have merged it with Swiggy Instamart. This one which I had, so last month, Swiggy had recently turned into merged this premium grocery vertical insanely good also with Instamart. I had a question here. मतलब, I basically wanted to talk about this for the sole fact here, Q commerce के ऊपर आप लोग का क्या take है? Because of course, a lot of people are saying it's basically going to kind of technically become commerce. There'll be nothing known as Q-commerce. It'll just be commerce. It's just that Amazon will also start doing 10-minute delivery in a few years to come. What is your take on this, on the Q-commerce saga which is currently unfolding? And does the unit of economics actually make sense? Because मुझे जहाँ तक अभी, as we have seen Olas and Ubers and the Flipkarts and all the bigger companies which people used to say will never become profitable, eventually what has happened is once these people have a captive audience, these people start upselling and cross-selling things and open up newer verticals which are probably more profitable and then sell it to these captive audiences. And that is probably for the bigger people also the case. And I think which we have also started seeing in Blinkit and Zepto also, where they are now selling PlayStations and people are buying, FYI. And they are slowly, Swiggy is adding Swiggy and Zomato's are adding a 2 rupees fee or a 5 rupees service fee or an app fee or whatever they want to call it for every transaction, and then trying to make money out of the audiences in their this thing. But what's your take on the overall Q-commerce saga? And I think Swiggy Instamart is one of those unsaid or non-talked about Q-commerce players, which is actually doing very, very well. Because while people talk a lot about Zepto and Blinkit, I believe कि यार Swiggy Instamart के बारे में ज़्यादा बात होती नहीं है, and Swiggy has done a really commendable job. With what these people had at their disposal at one point of time. But what's your take on this, Saurabh, Kulmani, Vishal, Akash? Anything which you want to? talk about for either Swiggy
As
or
to
the
its
q-commerce space?
sustainability due doubts as to its sustainability primarily because of the logistics. Because if you're having 10-minute, 15-minute delivery, you're going to have to increase the stock points within the cities, right? That would mean transshipment of good cost, the cost of transshipment of goods will go up. That would mean, firstly, the percentage and volume of damages will go up. Two, the last mile delivery costs will go up simply because there is a lot more transshipment happening. And three, uh, it may also drive up inventory carrying costs. So on the other side of the scale, you will be saving quite a bit of distribution margin. Will that be enough? That is anybody's guess. It will depend upon how the market scales up. But having operated multiple godowns and logistics operations and sales, I am seeing a cost aspect to this. As I'm sure the others will agree with me here. The key issue is, will the growth in volumes be plus the savings from distribution margins cover these rise in inventory costs? Because there is only one joker in this, and that is the inventory cost and the last mile delivery cost that are going to go up. Will these two, and those costs are going to go up, that's a no-brainer. Will they be covered by the rise in sales? Will they be covered by the savings on the aspect of distribution margins? Point one. Point two, uh, currently contribution of e-commerce plus q-commerce to total FMCG sales would be, if I'm not wrong, around 12%. It was 12% about 3 years ago when I checked it. It could maybe 18 or 20%. How will the other 80% channel respond to this? That we do not know. In a scenario when one company's stocks vanished overnight from this issue, that was when this entire e-commerce thing was just beginning to come in. So we do not know what will happen in the retail. It could be that there will be some gaps which a competitor can expand, and then you might see the companies pulling out. You're already seeing that some products are available in e-commerce, others are not available in e-commerce. You're already seeing the differentiation happen. So
Mm.
it's an exciting space to watch, but untested. This is something, it's likely to be fascinating to watch how it goes up. But that's my take. Over to the rest of the guys.
So Fulmani, I was going through this article. देखो यहाँ पे ना एक बहुत ही फंडामेंटल चीज जो है ना, जो मेरे ख्याल से मैंने काफी पहले ही इसके बारे में बात की हुई है, but now we see this playing around, is q-commerce is not just about grocery. ठीक है, the moment you change the SKU, which has a sizable margin, automatically you drive conversions. They experimented this with books, then they got into clothes, then they got into electronics, and now they have all the different categories which you'll also find on Amazon. अभी वो टीवी भी देना चालू करेगा, वो प्ले स्टेशन तो ऑलरेडी दे ही रहा है अभी। तो मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि
Also into
अभी,
pharma now.
हाँ,
Also into pharma, which is a very high margin business.
तो जैसे ही आपने अपना लॉजिस्टिक्स आर्म बना लिया, और यहाँ पे भी आपने भी जो एनालिसिस की ना, वो ज्यादातर फ्रॉम व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड इज डन फ्रॉम अ ग्रोसरी मार्केट पर्सपेक्टिव, राइट? तो मैं बस वही बोल रहा हूँ कि मेरा टेक, इसीलिए मैं थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्टेड हूँ इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग यू गाइस पर्सपेक्टिव, is कि Q-commerce is not just about grocery anymore. It's about, I want to order my clothes and I want my clothes in 10 minutes. And and there is an app which is giving me my clothes in 10 minutes. भले ही वो limited inventory दे रहा हो, भले ही वो बस white t-shirt दे रहा हो, लेकिन मैं शायद वहां से ऑर्डर करूँ. So, and it is changing the consumer habits big time. I have not gone to a grocery store in I don't know how many days. मेरा दूध भी वहीं से आता है, मेरा चाय भी वहीं से आता है, मेरा सब कुछ वहीं से आता है. And I'm not just talking about daily thing. मतलब मैं अपने हेडफोन्स भी अब ब्लिंकिट से ऑर्डर करता हूँ, मैं अमेजोन से नहीं खरीदता. तो बेसिकली अब फोन्स भी दे रहा है, वो आईफोन्स भी बेच रहा है अभी. So I want to take your perspective, Saurabh sir, Kulmani sir, any take on that?
So I think my views have evolved ever since, after I wrote this. Within the next few months, I think Zepto bought $200 million.
Hmm.
That's when I sort of converged to what you are saying now.
Hmm.
because I understood that first, even for groceries, let's talk vegetables and fruits.
Hmm.
Quality of vegetables which come to my house through Zepto is significantly higher than any other quick commerce because
Hmm.
Zepto has used that money for backward integration,
Hmm.
improving the sourcing. Now
Hmm.
that the habits have been anchored, I don't care if they give me in 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I care
Hmm.
more about the quality.
Hmm.
Second, to your point, if they were to become, deliver everything across categories in 10 minutes, then I think it becomes more of a real estate play because now you want your dark hubs or your dark stores to be strategically placed to deliver in a particular locality, right? And from that angle, also Zepto will be far ahead now at this point because they have the uh, uh, in the school level they were a bit of positive. They got the funding, and post that they have used that money to grab those locations which are strategic to for delivery of variety of these. Right? So my views have also converged to what you are saying after writing this and after analyzing why Zepto got the money from the LPs of one of the funds who had invested into Zepto. So that's also an interesting. That doesn't happen usually, right? So yes, I tend to agree with you that that time we may have been underestimating it all while we may have been only defining it in terms of breakfast and all vegetables and all those things. But yes, it would be much better. So I agree with you. Yeah.
Hmm. ऑल द बेस्ट यार, ये तो पूरा इंडिया से एक नया इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट हो रहा है जो आई थिंक रेप्लिकेट होगा ग्लोबली। द होल क्यू कॉमर्स थिंग ये इंडिया में ही हुआ है और कहीं नहीं हुआ है अभी तक। तो लेट्स सी हाउ द स्टोरी कम्स आउट और अनफोल्ड्स। ओके, मूविंग ऑन, ये थोड़े
Something
छोटे
to add, Vivek
हाँ
here.
सर, हाँ बोलो ना।
Just checked, the current numbers are not 18%, they are 13 to 15% as a percentage of total retail sales. So yes, on the
हम्म।
global aspect, yes, this is a first, and we will probably take this global. But let's have a reality check as well. It's barely 15% of the total retail sales in India. So, as I said, an exciting space. I said it many times before, but let's see.
हम्म।
Cost, I'm not convinced, but let's move on. We'll तुम्हें पता लग ही जाएगा in coming months. Yes, are the costs working out? No point bashing our heads on that point.
हम्म। तो जब
By
थोड़े
the way,
छोटे
Kulmani, yes, the quality they receive Kisan Connect Zepto is actually better.
हम्म, मतलब
Nisha,
So not
जल्दी
even single. I have prepared multiple vegetables, green chili, fruits, everything is superior. So
हम्म,
not let Western into Zepto, but I really like their
yeah, yeah, definitely,
quality which they did.
no doubt.
हम्म। ओके, मूविंग ऑन, जल्दी जल्दी से थोड़े छोटे छोटे वाले जो उनको कवर कर लेते हैं। एक, द फर्स्ट वन, दीज आर द स्मॉलर
Let's move.
न्यूज स्टोरीज। वन इज ओपन एआई मेक्स इट्स फर्स्ट हायर इन इंडिया। So they have hired Pragya Mishra to lead the public policy affairs and partnerships. They will basically be working
Yeah,
with the central government. अभी पता नहीं क्या होगा इसमें तो, खैर, but yeah, I mean all the best to Pragya for this one. Moving on to Ninja Card. So Ninja Card has invested in a Philippines-based agri-tech firm called Mayani. Okay, so Ninja Card will not just deploy capital, but also offer supply chain support and advisory services to Mayani. Mayani caters to farmers and fisher folk to offer them avenues to increase yield and sustainable pathways to market via quality inputs. मेरा क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे ये था कि निंजा कार्ड डू इन्वेस्टमेंट्स ग्लोबली, और is it a sign of them trying to make an entry in the Southeast Asian market via an acquisition like this? सौरभ सर, क्या टेक है आपका इसमें?
It's more about, let's say, once you look at an Indian player getting into Southeast Asian market, and which is a lot more physical in nature, right? So it's always better to get with a local player because you don't want to set up your complete chain out there, right? So once you want to expand into a very physical setup, yeah, it's always better to acquire something in the same geography.
और तो पहले ये अपना एक बेस सेटअप कर रहे हैं, they're investing, they're basically make understanding the ecosystem, they're making partners in the way, and then they will get in. Is that what you're saying? Interesting. Okay. As per Ninja Card, the deal coincides. Okay, Ninja Card has been
Fascinating
on a.
part this is,
हाँ जी.
yeah, I was saying one fascinating part is it's a small thing, but to me it's fascinating. An Indian agri-tech firm is expanding into an adjacent international
Hmm.
markets. That in and of itself, that is news.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
something quite fascinating. I was just
Hmm.
wondering, Kalmani and Akash, there are advantages to be had, especially in this field. Agri-tech offer international a company with international presence based in India, based out of India, because these are very localized markets. But that is very tantalizing thought. Things that are working abroad, then you can experiment them and bring them into India and vice versa. That's just
नहीं
a
होता भी है
fascinating.
ना, I think. So one of the things is Ninja Card last year they did a similar thing where they announced his entry into the Brazilian market with a partnership with Arado, which is in the agri-business marketplace in Brazil. So Ninja Cart has actually been doing quite a lot of work in these different international markets, which at least I was not privy about. Interesting. Okay, moving on. थोड़ा जल्दी करते हैं because we don't have time. I think दो news हैं. एक तो WeWork has completely pulled out of the Indian entity now. So WeWork Inc. will sell the remaining 27% stake in WeWork India for 1200 CR. And WeWork India has actually been doing very well. These people have year on year jump in revenue to 1300 CR, the Indian arm, that is. I also have a news which I'm covering in one of my YouTube only videos is around Flow, the new Adam Newman company जिसमें एंडरसन हॉरोविट्ज ने 350 million डाल दिया ऑलरेडी वो यूनिकॉर्न बन चुकी है वो कंपनी. So there is a separate story around this, but we'll come to this. Um,
Sounds interesting.
yeah, अरे
By the
वो
way, this 1300 CR, their profit is 300 CR.
this is what?
Out of this 1300 CR, 300 CR is their profit.
अच्छा 300 series profit. Not bad at all.
Yes, 300 to 400 CR. This is from the CEO. He gave a statement a couple of months.
WeWork has raised 550 CR, 1300 CR in FY23. Its losses declined by 80%. क्या बात कर रहे हो भाई, कौन है भाई? एकदम टर्न अराउंड ही कर दिया है, मतलब एक्सट्रीम फोकस ऑन प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. रेवेन्यू भी 68% इंक्रीज एंड लॉस आल्सो डिक्लाइंड बाय 80%. तो रॉकस्टार सीईओ है भाई इनका तो. इंटरेस्टिंग. ओके. एंड देन on the other side is Poo, which is basically its active user base has plummeted by 62%. And ये मेरे ख्याल से ये जो अप्रमेय है, Aprameya has actually been trying to do in something in the local space for a very long time since the time he exited from Taxi for Sure. And I know this because I to know him personally. ये इससे पहले वोकल चला रहा था. Yes, so vocal only basically changed to Poo. Poo's journey from vocal to micro blogging platform hit. हाँ मतलब basically they are मतलब ज्यादा कुछ तो है नहीं इसमें डिस्कस करने के लिए, but I think um, I don't know what was the game also. I mean, they had been experimenting with quite a lot of stuff. They were a little bit मुझे लगता है कि इनका जो लोकल वोकल वाला जो कॉन्सेप्ट था ना, दैट वाज स्टिल अ डिसेंट आइडिया, but it was a little bit ahead of its time. And then they wanted to become cool. This came and this basically took a, kind of jumped up when Twitter was basically being bought over by Elon Musk. And who basically tried to go global also. A lot of copycats of Twitter were mushrooming, including threads from Facebook. But I don't think that who had any kind of USP at all when it comes to micro blogging. Uh, and who even used to say that they used to be the third largest micro blogging app at one point of time. But even I don't know whether that's the case also. So who has had to cut customer acquisition costs and has witnessed a decline in active users since then. The number of active users has plummeted from 7.2 million in June 2023 to 2.7 million, representing 62% uh, drop in the data. And their overall operating income is only 14 lakhs. They have a meager operating income of 14 lakhs and a staggering 200 CR loss in FY 2022. यार ये तो मतलब this is a dumpster fire यार. They had a lot of which I think इसके ऊपर भी एक कहानी करनी पड़ेगी separately. इसके ऊपर ज्यादा बात करने का सेंस नहीं बनता. I think the last story of the night is around PayU. I think PayU and Cred both have got RBI's in principle approval to operate as a payment aggregator. इसका implications क्या है सर आकाश? Why don't you tell us what happens when somebody becomes a payment aggregator and what are the loopholes or what are the hoop loops which a company has to go through for applying for this one?
Yeah, payment aggregator. So actually, I mean, it will be a very long story. So when you make an online payment, right, there are a lot of players in between, right? It is
Hmm.
acquirer, issuer, then there is basically your payment gateway, right? Your payment aggregator. So there are like n number of things. And when you don't have a license, right, then there is also one concept of nodal account, right? You need to set it up with different banks, then all those things. So there are a lot of basically things here which will take some time to explain, but yeah, long story short, if you have a payment aggregator, right, you can see that at least two or three things you can now merge and you can do yours, yeah, like your own, and you don't have to depend on an external partner, right? So what it gives is that it gives more visibility to the data, and it gives like less margin what you have to share with others, right? That's what it gives
अच्छा तो
in
आपको
principle.
आपका you basically save up on your cost basically then you can make more margins.
Yes. You can make
Okay.
more margin as well as you can see more data, right? I mean, earlier you have to share that
Yeah.
data with multiple entities now, but you can now retain that data internally, right?
Mm.
So just to give you right, like mention about like Paytm also, like earlier, like Paytm didn't had a PA license because it also had its bank. Now since bank is basically separated, so they have also received this payment aggregator license now. So they can
Congratulations.
so yeah, so that's also good. So now, but yeah, so there are some rules which also comes with this. Maybe yeah, would require a lot of time to explain that in detail. Yeah.
नहीं नहीं ये करते हैं अलग से बट कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट मतलब डज इट चेंज एनीथिंग फॉर द कंज्यूमर?
For the consumer, no. There is nothing as such which has changed, but there will be some processes which will be changed in the middle, right? So once you have a payment aggregator license, then there is this nodal account, right? How the basically settlement happens when someone pays through your like through your payment aggregator, right? Then there is some like who basically gets to keep the money, how the money is settled. So some of those things will change. So everything will change in the background, and there will be no impact as such on the consumers.
Akash, can you also throw some light into how Cred is making its money, or
Yeah man,
what is
do
their
you have any
what is their
idea about what
revenue model?
do you have any
Right,
idea about what credit is doing bro?
Like right now, I've also tried to read it multiple times. To be honest, I didn't find anything much. So
Uh,
I just know that. Sorry.
I will purchase their financials from MCA in the next
Yeah,
episode.
you just you.
I will spend 400 rupees.
Yeah, you buy it and then we both can actually sit on it and create a, I mean, maybe we can create a deck as well. So I've
Yeah,
also
yeah,
actually got the
definitely.
deck for Blanket if you want to like see,
Uh,
right? I think you can see, like if you have heard like Dipinder's like interview also, right? He mentioned that within a year or two, ideally Blinkit will make more money as compared to like Zomato, and that is because of the growth. And if you want, right, there's just one page of like financials. If you just see that one pager of financial of Blinkit, right, we can see that how big the Q-commerce is actually growing.
यार भेजो यार, ये इसके ऊपर अलग से क्यू कॉमर्स के ऊपर एक वीडियो करते हैं यार,
मैं
आकाश
आपको
कुलमणि, अगर आप भी बिजी हो गए
लिंक
ना। हाँ, भेजो
मैं
भेजो।
आपको लिंक भेजता हूँ, ये लिंक खोल दीजिए, पेज नंबर है 13।
कहाँ भेज रहा? अच्छा, यहीं
स्लाइड पे आ
पे।
गया।
पेज नंबर
13।
13।
अच्छा, हाँ 13।
अरे वाह, फूड डिलीवरी हाइपर प्योर
एक नहीं, नीचे
क्यू
वाला, हाँ, ये
कॉमर्स।
क्विक कॉमर्स देखो। So you can see this is
हाँ।
Q3 of FY23 and it goes till Q3 of FY24, right? So
हम्म,
basically in Q3 FY23, the GOV, which is gross order value of basically Blinkit was 1,749 CR. Now it is 3,542 CR, which is almost 103% of Y and Y. This is just the like order value. If you see the revenue, it was around like 301 CR. It has grown to 644 CR. So again, a growth of 114%. Then you can see now, you can see that contribution is 86 crores, which is basically positive now. So this is like
पॉजिटिव।
your CM, yeah, this is your CM2. This is like 2.4% of, like this is basically GOV, gross order value, like 2.4% of gross order value is your contribution, which means that now Blinkit actually makes money. And when you subtract the operational cost from it, which basically comes out to be around 180 CR or something, your final like numbers is like around like minus 89 CR, which is minus 2.5 crores, right? But the interesting part here is that you can see the growth. It's like 114%, which is crazy growth for a business as big as like Blinkit. And if you see the interesting detail, like in the bottom, which is operating matrix, you can see the average order value, which is 6,635, which is really high, which is like really good as a business. And yeah, you can see number of orders and all those things. So the growth is like blazing fast. And Dipender himself mentioned that it might happen that in a year or two, Blinkit would actually make more like money in this. And there's just one thing that he has actually put his like right hand man. Now he is basically handling the Blinkit himself. So yeah, I mean they are focusing a lot more on Blinkit now.
ब्लिंकिट तो फील कर रहा है भाई। आई ऑलवेज सेड, लोग मतलब पीपल यूज टू लाफ कि व्हाई डिड ही बाय
Hmm.
ब्लिंकिट, राइट? एंड मतलब दिस इज व्हाई वो कहते हैं ना कि यू हैव टू फॉलो योर गट। Dipinder Goyal,
Yeah.
had he listened to others, that's why probably all these bigger folks, they understand. We यार मतलब I think I think Zepto unlocked something within, the way I look at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Blinkit acquisition happened before Zepto came in, or did it happen
No, no,
after?
after that. After that.
After,
After
na?
that.
हाँ.
100%. Yeah.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably that Zepto, Zepto coming into the picture, probably that kind of
Mm.
opened up a few insights for these people to go in. But Swiggy is
Mm-hmm.
also doing मतलब मुझे तो वही लग रहा है Q-commerce is going to be really big. I think let's just do a separate video on Q-commerce and let's see. We'll try and go deep dive into the financials and try and understand how things are working. And also there are a lot of pitfalls around this logistics. The whole human element, ना, the riders वाला angle जो है, उसको भी थोड़ा सा touch upon करने की कोशिश करते हैं. But I think with that, we come to a close for today's. After a very long time, we did a news episode for the TBC Weekly Live. Hopefully you guys liked it. Hopefully this was insightful. Thanks a lot to all our panelists. Saurabh sir has been back after a very long time. Great to see you, sir, after a very long time. And hopefully we'll see you all the more as well. Thank you, Akash, Kulmani, and Vishal for joining in. And we'll see you guys again next week. ये नंबर ऑफ स्टोरीज इतने ही रखे हैं, कम करें? आई थिंक थोड़ा ज्यादा थोड़ा कम करके मिक्सर हमने रखा है। द इनिशियल स्टोरीज डेफिनेटली टेक अप अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, बट पीछे की तरफ फिर हम 5-5 मिनट में बाकी सारे भी निकाल देते हैं, hopefully काम करेगा। Cool. I think with that, we'll see you guys next week, same place,